Playback is brought to you by Abby's Legendary Pizza and Kronesburg Electric.
Well, hello there, Central Oregon, and welcome to the second annual Big Playback pregame show here at Summit High School. The Summit Storm hosting the Mountain View Cougars, and a surprise sight for maybe some Storm fans. They are the underdogs in this one. They're the fourth-ranked team in the state. The Mountain View Cougars, the #1 ranked team here in 5A in the state of Oregon. Let's break down this Mountain View Cougars team and their season thus far to see how they got to this point as this #1 ranked team. Of course, a phenomenal season thus far, as I mentioned, loaded with seniors, loaded with talent, undefeated on the year. This team, 4-0 record in non-league play, undefeated 3-0 in league play. But the story of this team, of course, has to be that loaded senior class. 22 seniors on this team, including the gunslinging quarterback, son of the coach, Connor Crum. They got tight end Jackson Hirsch, the miraculously talented Connor Calvert, O-lineman linebacker Easton Herberger, and so many other seniors that I don't even have time to name. But it's actually some of the young offense so explosive. The sophomore sensation, Angel Valenzuela, who's scoring a touchdown every other game, if not every game. They got go-to wide receiver Jack Foley, who will be damned to lose a jump ball. And what should not get lost in the chaos is the way this defense is played, allowing a league best 33 points all season long. That's just 5 points a game. This team is the #1 ranking for a reason, but their toughest test of the season by far comes tonight with this Summit Storm team.
So our message for this whole season has been it's one game at a time. So we've taken every game of league, every game before league. It's just another game.
Different team than they were last year, but they're still got great athletes, physical, cause a lot of teams problems. But our message all week has been Mountain View versus Mountain View. We know it's about us. Don't make it bigger than it needs to be. We know, that #1 ranking's cool and all, and people, everyone wants it, but that's not a big deal to us. We're not playing to have the #1 ranking. Doesn't mean anything to us.
They've got a lot of size. They got some big guys that play D-line. They're solid, but we're looking forward to showing we can beat them.
These Cougars with a lot of quiet confidence. They've waited quite a long time to be on top of the football scene in Central Oregon and possibly the entire state. And the one knock on this team might be their schedule up to this point. Maybe not as strong as others compared to the Summit Storm. And while they beat Canby, the first place team in their Special District 1, but there are some other teams that they beat that are maybe in the middle of the pack or not so strong. The Summit Storm, the complete opposite story for them. They were so much more impressive in terms of the strength of their schedule. They beat a myriad of really tough 6A and 5A teams. Of course, to recap, the Summit Storm, those reigning 5A champions from last year. Starting off, they're 1-3 in non-league play, undefeated in league play, so those 3 losses. Speaking of losses, that team lost quite a few seniors from the championship team, but it's returning. The star running back, Sam Stevens, so shifty, so explosive. Arizona commit tight end, Charlie Kroll. And they have a transfer from California at quarterback, Jimmy Hughes, who is starting to settle in nicely. Besides just acclimating to the new look roster, the Storm faced a gauntlet, as I mentioned, to start that season, facing 2 top 5 6A teams in Tualatin and Sherwood, plus 2 top 5 5A teams in Wilsonville and Thurston, getting that impressive win over Thurston. Those non-league opponents are combined 22-3 on the season so far. So it's been a gauntlet, as I mentioned. The Summit players believe because of that schedule, they're battle-tested and are ready to face a team like the Mountain View Cougars.
For us, this is just another game. All year we've been playing in big games.
I think looking at Mountain View's teams they haven't played who we've played, so I think we've had a lot more practice against the better teams in the state. Personally, we all think that we're the better team, and I know the rankings don't say that, but I think we have that fire because we're ranked lower. We really want to get that spot back like we had last year, and want to go back-to-back this year.
I think it'll definitely pay dividends, but I guess we'll have to see on Friday night.
And just what a battle this one will be tonight. 2 teams and players that, it's a small town. Everybody knows each other so well. And it's the ultimate clash in terms of storyline, right? You have this Mountain View team. They're so explosive. They're rolling over really all of their opponents. But how tough is that schedule? Then you have the Summit Storm. Some of the guys have done there before and been there, done that. but then they face this myriad of tough teams, really making them battle-tested. So what is the more favorable option, being strong and being tested off a tough schedule, or just rolling through and getting in the rhythm? We will find out tonight. We're going to take a quick break, but after we come back, let's hear from the coaches of these teams to see how they think this schedule or non-schedule issue will have them fare tonight. Welcome on back to the Big Playback pregame show. What a night, what an event it should be here at Summit High School. The fans matching their team's uniforms, Summit in all black, the fans rocking all black, Mountain View in the white, the fans on the other side of the stadium rocking all white. You heard from some of the team captains what they think their team, how they should fare based on their schedule and their play. What about the coaches? What do they think about this strength of schedule debate and how this game should impact the rest of the season? Let's hear from them.
They certainly played a really tough schedule. There's no doubt about that, right? And I know Coach Hyatt set that up for a reason, to see what he had over there.
I knew it was going to be a challenge, breaking in a bunch of new players and stuff like that. The thing that I'm really pleased about is the way that we've gotten better each and every week, and that's really evident.
A lot of those things get thrown out the window on Friday night. When you have an inter-city rivalry like we have with them, it's going to be who's ready to play the most on Friday night.
I think our kids are confident, and we're excited about trying to compete against the #1 team in the state.
It's going to be, like I said earlier, what this game is about, and why high school football is really special. A couple of thousand people on a beautiful Friday night in Central Oregon. I don't know why you'd want to be anywhere else.
And one thing both coaches emphasized to me, that this is just another game, even though it doesn't feel like it. Win or lose, both these teams have bigger goals, and that's to be playing into late November. Summit trying to repeat as state champions, while Mountain View trying to snatch the crown from those whose head it lies on. But we do have some other teams across the region, some other games tonight. 2 more in 5A. Let's take a look at that schedule. The Caldera Wolfpack hosting the Redmond Panthers, who are 3-4 on the year. The Wolfpack 5-2 this season. Very impressive for this brand new school. Their first ever year with a senior class, so good on them. Plus, the Ridgeview Ravens 1-6 are hosting the Lava Bears 3-4. Not the Ravens' best year, but expect them to put up a fight against a young Lava Bear team. Meanwhile, in 4A, Cook County on the road against Baker tonight. Been an up-and-down season for the Cowboys. And Madras 1-6 plays Ontario 4-3 tomorrow for a Saturday game. Not the Buffs' year so far, but maybe they can turn it around with the matinee slot. In 3A, one of the great stories, these Sisters Outlaws. We touched on the greatness in all their fall programs. Their team with a homecoming matchup against the divisional rival in Siuslaw. Should be a good one. We'll have those highlights for you. And the Lapine Hawks with a home match tonight against Yamhill. And plus, as always, those Culver Bulldogs have a home game against Blanchett Catholic. They'll have their hands full tonight, as they're always rooting for those Bulldogs. We're going to bring back in Lee Anderson for just a moment here to break down this game as quick as we can. Lee, what are your thoughts on this game? Maybe just give me a quick score prediction for this one, Summit or Mountain View.
Well, I got to be unbiased. I live in the Summit School District, but I'm going with my head here. Mountain View 34-14 tonight over Summit.
Mountain View 34-14. You know what? I think the Summit Storm, they're actually going to upset the world, upset the area here, and they're going to win this one in a defensive battle, about 21-17. What a night here in Central Oregon. Summit High School will have the highlights for you on the Big Playback tonight at 11. We'll see you all there.